In August, a couple of months later, I think it was August or maybe the first days of September, we were moved. It was August.
August 8th
Yeah.
through the 10th
Yeah.
of 1942.
Well, we verified that with some information from history books, because some of the things, dates, weren't very clear in the mind. If you're hungry the whole day, and if you're cold, and if you're terrified, and you don't remember dates, you don't live by days or by days. So we had to find out. Some of it I remembered as accurate as can be after so many years now. It's 50 years now later, when I was telling the story to Heather. But we moved to another camp, and we thought this one was bad until we came to that other one. The other one camp was called Auschwitz II. This one was Auschwitz I, where I was, and the other one was Auschwitz II. Sorry, I have to
Better known as
tease
Birkenau, which
Yeah.
most of you have
Sorry.
heard about. Birkenau was originally the stables for the Polish army. During the war, when it first started, when Poland was first occupied, they moved the Russian prisoners of war, and they stayed in Birkenau. By the time Rena reached Birkenau, most of the Russian prisoners of war had been shot, which she also witnessed, and they were moved into the stables and slept on shelves.
Yeah, there were 3 layers of shelves. We slept, in the beginning we slept, there were about 6 of us in a shelf, and so we slept only this not in the width, for the length of it, of the shelf, but in the width. So some of us were taller. Either you curled up or you just, the feet were hanging down. But then later on, when it was starting getting more and more transports, there were 8 of us, and sometimes were even 12 of us there, one next to the other one. And sometimes in the morning when you woke up, there was a dead body next to you. And when there were dead bodies, they woke us up always at 4 o'clock, the whole time we were there. Then the block elder was ordering us to take the body out, and when we went on roll call, the bodies had to be lined up right next to us, to the ones still alive there, and so they could be counted. Then the SS came in and took them 3 hours to count us, and at 7 o'clock we marched out again to the work details, the same as we did in Auschwitz before. We were continuing there. What am I supposed to type down? Yes, the food I should describe now. I get lost in it, and I try to tell the whole book, so Heather made me up a list here, so I won't keep you here the whole night. I'm sure you would like to go home sometimes. We all would like to. So the food she wanted me to describe too. There isn't much to describe. I can do it in 2 seconds. A 3-by-3 little piece of bread, sort of bread, but it would have been delicious to have 2 pieces of it. One, that's for 24 hours. And then we got some bowls, and so with that bowl we were coming in the morning. When 4 o'clock we were going out, there was a kettle, a person standing there, a couple, with the tea and with a scoop, and giving us in the bowl a scoop of the tea. I don't know what kind it was, but it wasn't a very good brand, because just like black water. But we needed it anyway, so we took it. And in the evening when we marched in, after we got the bread actually in the evening, after the roll call, coming in, was again roll call in the evening. And during the detail at lunchtime, I forgot to say, when we were working on the details outside, at lunchtime we got sort of a soup. And sometimes it was some turnips in it, and sometimes a little few pieces of potatoes. But because the couples were eating from the same soup, from the same kettle, they gave us the water on the top, and sometimes just swimming a few pieces of potatoes, and the rest of it was just water. And sometimes there were a few pieces, and once in a blue moon, if the war was good for them, if they were winning, they would have a few pieces of meat maybe in it. But the couples usually took care of that, and they had it, and we had just that watery soup. For my hometown was lucky enough to get herself into a work detail where there were, it wasn't a pleasant one either, but it was under a roof. And there were the clothes that they were taking off of the transports, the Jewish transport coming in. They had to strip naked and go into the gas chambers, and then the clothes were taken in to a building. And that's one of my friends got a position to fold the clothes, and they were sending the clothes to Germany. So I think they got a little bit hardened later, but the folding of the clothes and knowing from where they come from, and how many died, seeing that the piles of clothes was not exactly a good position, that if you are hungry and you are cold and you are freezing and you can avoid one of those things, like not being cold in a building, I guess you get numb to it, and they could work there. I tried to get into that detail once with my sister, and she said sometimes you can find in the clothes, you can find in the pockets a cookie or a piece of chocolate or a piece of bread. I said, well, I tried. So she got, the other friend of mine tried to get us in. In order to get in, you had to have red kerchiefs. So we had to sell our portion of bread, which was organizing in camp, in order to get a red kerchief. So the next day when you get into that work detail, they would take you there where the clothes are folding. So I had a red kerchief for my sister, I bought it for bread, and for myself. And we went to fold the clothes. But while we were folding the clothes, one of the coats was my uncle in Czechoslovakia was a tailor, and he put the labels in the clothes, and I folded, just by horrible coincidence, was the full coat of my aunt with the label of my uncle's name in it. There was one thing that I thought I'm never going there again, because I was afraid my other family members will find out about it. And then while we were there, the SS man on that day was horrible. He was beating us the whole day. And my friend said, this is just today. I said, well, I'm not taking a chance another day, because the capo in the work details outside wasn't an angel. She beat us too, and if she didn't, she got scolded by the SS woman, but sort of a chain, you know. She had to listen to her, so they were beating us, but not as bad as this assessment. And also was close to the gas chambers, and I watched the assessment climbing up a ladder and opening up a can, and through an opening throwing it inside. And I knew there was the gas, what's the name of it?
Zyklon B.
Zyklon B, throwing into it. I said, I don't want to look at it every day. I just go work with the shovel and I'll be outside. And I don't want to. So the next day we just went to that other detail that we worked there.